On October 21st, 2025, for the first time in months, the world's most powerful telescopes failed. The sun blazes directly behind a visitor that shouldn't exist, 3I Atlas, the third interstellar object ever found, and just as it nears the sun, the entire sky goes blind. For 6 weeks, nothing on Earth can see past that glare. No optical lens, no infrared array, no radar echo. It's as if the universe itself has drawn a curtain right when the comet's secrets should finally be revealed. Before we lose contact completely, one final burst of data arrives. Numbers that make no sense. Carbon dioxide to water, 8-to-1, an impossible chemistry. And that's when the whispers start, what if this isn't a comet at all? Across observatories, scientists argue in encrypted channels. Mars orbiters report a tail pointing toward the sun, a physical contradiction. The KEK telescope in Hawaii detects nickel lines bright as neon, but no trace of iron. Something metallic, something engineered, hiding beneath a green coma of gas. If you're watching this, remember for the next 6 weeks, we're completely blind. Whatever happens to 3I Atlas behind the sun, no one on Earth will know until December. It could disintegrate, or it could change course. So before we go dark, hit subscribe and stay with us, because when this object re-emerges, the data could rewrite everything we know about interstellar life. When the feed cuts to static, no one speaks. Across control rooms from Pasadena to Tokyo, analysts stare at the same empty line. For decades, we've stared outward, tracing light from galaxies billions of years away. But now, something inside our own system has gone silent. Before the blackout, one last signal burst through. Nickel emissions where only dust should exist. NASA's internal Slack channels fill with private messages, scientists asking, why nickel, why now? No one answers, because the truth might sound insane. The same molecular patterns once seen in industrial carbonyl process humans use to refine metals are now appearing in a comet's tail. In Hawaii, KEK-2's technicians replay the data again and again. Not a glitch, not noise. The ratio holds, nickel strong, iron missing. As if something near the nucleus is manufacturing its own alloys. Then another anomaly, a thin, ghost-like anti-tail, pointing toward the sun instead of away. Physics says that's impossible. But 3I Atlas doesn't seem to care about physics. Meanwhile, on Mars, the Perseverance rover catches a glimpse. A faint streak across the crimson sky. The image is blurred, stacked, overexposed, and yet it sparks a wildfire of speculation online. Forums explode with theories. Some call it a natural artifact, others whisper it's an engine burn, a deceleration maneuver before solar pass. By late October, the object vanishes into the sun's glare. But the numbers it leaves behind refuse to fade. Mass loss, 150 kilograms per second. Composition, 87% CO2, 9% CO, 4% water, a chemistry that belongs nowhere near home. Something about this object isn't dying, it's transforming. Astronomers at JPL start running secret models, not public releases, but private files asking one forbidden question. What if the mass loss isn't random? What if it's controlled? That's when they notice a pattern. Each burst of nickel-rich emission happens exactly 27 hours apart, synchronized, rhythmic, deliberate. Like the heartbeat of a machine. Weeks pass. The world above grows quieter as the sun's radiance drowns out every trace of light. But in the radio silence, the speculation becomes deafening. Scientists who once mocked interstellar techno-signatures now find themselves staring at models that defy explanation. The living comet theory gains traction. Not a ship, but something hybrid, half organic, half engineered. Built, perhaps, to survive the cold between stars. NASA's official channels stay quiet. Budget cuts, government shutdown, internal chaos. Yet leaked emails suggest otherwise, that several JPL engineers have already seen the unreleased Mars orbiter photos, and that what they show isn't dust or ice at all, but structure. Rumors spill faster than facts. Some say the structure is natural crystalline ice. Others insist it's symmetrical, too perfect. The truth hides behind solar glare, and every passing day pushes us closer to December, the moment of re-emergence, when 3I Atlas will step out from behind the sun and show us what it has become. December 2nd, 2025. The world holds its breath. For 41 days, 3I Atlas hid behind the sun, out of sight, out of reach, out of explanation. Then, just before dawn over Chile, the first photon breaks free of the glare. A faint green dot appears on the Vera Rubin Observatory's array. Coordinates match predictions, but the light doesn't. It's brighter, much brighter. The AI calibration systems pause automatically, thinking the brightness spike is an error, but it's no glitch. The intensity is real. 42% higher than the baseline before conjunction. Astronomers expected fragmentation, a fading ghost of dust. Instead, they're looking at something energized. Like the object gained power while it was hidden from us. Hours later, the James Webb Space Telescope locks on. Its infrared spectrometer comes online. The new reading stuns everyone. The ratio that once defined the mystery carbon dioxide to water hasn't returned to normal. It's flipped again. Now water dominates 8-1. Something about the object's chemistry has completely reversed. Comets don't do this, Dr. Zhang mutters on an open NASA channel. Her voice is recorded in a transmission log, now archived under Event 3 IDEC 2025. Whatever Atlas did while hidden, it wasn't passive. Somewhere, behind the sun, it changed itself. By the next sunrise, 3 separate agencies report visual confirmation. ESA's Mars Express, India's Mangalyaan 2, and Japan's KK Observatory. All show a new structure extending sunward, a narrow jet, like a needle of light, holding perfectly steady in the solar wind. No comet tail behaves like that. It's aligned, precise, deliberate. On-screen analysts whisper about attitude control. Off-screen, the chatter goes darker. What if that jet isn't venting gas, but adjusting course? For the first time since Oumuamua, orbital predictions diverge. Only by microfractions, a few arc-seconds off, but the trajectory no longer matches Newton's script. It's as if the object gently nudged itself out of its inbound line, changing angle without a single visible cause. Inside NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, engineers run comparisons. No dust jet could explain it. No outgassing, no random solar pressure. The math demands intent, but intent from what? The press release stays silent. Instead, a bland statement appears. 3I Atlas re-emerged within expected orbital parameters. Further observations ongoing. Inside the building, though, every monitor glows red with new telemetry. Surface temperature spikes, reflectance patterns change, and the polarization signal the way light scatters off its surface is the strongest ever recorded. Negative polarization, the kind that only happens with surfaces smoother than glass. JPL's internal memo leaks that evening. 4 words. Surface reflectivity exceeds comet model. Someone replies in the thread, "So what's shining back at us?" Nobody answers. The world wakes up to headlines. 3I Atlas returns brighter. Comet changes chemistry mid-flight. NASA denies artificial origin. And underneath every headline, the same photograph, a teardrop of green fire suspended in space. By December 6th, amateur astronomers join in. Hundreds of backyard telescopes catch the object on video. Each one shows the same pulse pattern, a rhythmic flicker, every 27 hours, echoing the data KEK saw before blackout. It's not random rotation, it's signaling. The internet fractures. Half of Reddit screams alien technology, the other half calls it data noise. But somewhere in between, scientists quietly agree. Whatever it is, it's not following the rules. And rules are the only thing keeping us sane out here. As the object moves past the sun's limb, its direction shifts again, now rising toward Earth's orbital plane. Not a collision course, but close enough for comfort. Within 0.19 astronomical units closer than Mars was 2 months ago. That's when something else happens. Radio telescopes in Australia pick up a faint narrowband spike near 4.38 GHz, exactly where nothing should be. Not background noise, not solar interference. A clean carrier tone, lasting exactly 17 seconds. The Deep Space Network marks the signal's origin, right where 3I Atlas should be. The carrier tone isn't loud, it's surgical. A line in the noise so clean the algorithms flag it as instrumental. Engineers rerun the pass with a different front-end chain, same tone. The spike appears again, same frequency, same duration, Doppler shift exactly consistent with 3I Atlas's outbound velocity. No one uses the A word. They don't have to. The lab air changes temperature when the first overlay pops up. Signal track and comet ephemeris, locked like gears. Within hours, the Deep Space Network reroutes a Madrid dish for an unscheduled stare. Engineers widen the band, drop gain, swap polarization. The tone returns on a 39-minute cadence, twice, then vanishes. On Slack, a post from a junior ops tech goes viral inside the firewall. If this were spacecraft housekeeping, it'd look exactly like this. Her manager replies with the only safe sentence left: run the cross-checks again. Mars steps back into the story like a quiet professional. Maven's radio occultation experiment, designed for thin atmospheres, pulls double duty. For one orbit, controllers align antenna boresight through the green coma. On the far side, ESA's trace gas orbiter listens in the blind. The pass is narrow, the timing cruel, and the triangulation lands anyway. 2 receivers, 2 clocks, 1 origin point inside a region no wider than a small city. Whatever's transmitting, it's not the coma, it's deeper. The science team doesn't cheer, they go quiet. Because that number lives in the zone where ice ends and structure begins. The nickel lines that baffled KEK now look like breadcrumbs. The cyanogen pairings like a label we never learned to read. A combustion chamber? A catalytic film? The metaphors fail because the data don't care. The data simply repeat: metal where rock should be, control where chaos should reign. 2 days later, astrometry delivers the blow that ends the argument. Rubin's stack shows a deviation, 12 milliarcseconds off the pre-conjunction orbit. Not much the width of a coin seen from 1,000 kilometers, but mathematics is merciless. That offset implies a deltav near 10 meters per second sometime during blackout. Too crisp for random outgassing, too tidy for dust jets. The team logs it with a name no one will forget: Perihelion Anomaly 1. Publicly, releases say, non-gravitational forces consistent with comet activity. Privately, a senior dynamics lead writes, show me a comet that does this once on command. There's no reply in the thread. Only a paper trail of timestamps, code checks, and a sentence that will be quoted for a decade. The simplest model that fits the data requires deliberate timing. Earth rotates under a growing hush. News anchors practice a new word, reacquisition, and weather maps give way to sky charts. If the projections hold, 3I Atlas will pass 0.19 AU from Earth on December 23rd, a close shave across the morning sky. Even at that distance, binoculars will catch the emerald ember at civil dawn, low over the southeast. The show won't be bright, but it will be real. Radio teams set a trap: 3 continents, 6 dishes, 1 clock. If the tone returns, they'll form the first interplanetary interferometer on a transient visitor. The modelers name it, half joke, half prayer, the Horizon Net. And as midnight drifts into morning across the Atlantic, a slim spike rises again, the same carrier, same climb, but this time, a second line appears just 8 kilohertz away, like harmony. Engineers don't sleep. They phase-link dishes and let the sky do the math. The dual tone resolves into a rotating source, not a broadcast in all directions, but a needle-thin beam sweeping through space on a 27-hour rhythm, the same heartbeat amateurs saw in visible light. The sweep crosses Earth twice in a single day, a lighthouse in vacuum at a speed your chest can feel. The mind reaches for metaphors: a radar, a ranging ping, a test pattern. The old SETI rules whisper from the margins. Look for narrowband, look for repetition, look for structure. We've found all 3. But who is a question science doesn't answer first. We start with what. And the what, right now, is a beam whose pointing precision shames anything natural we know. December 23rd dawns with 1,000 backyard tripods and every major array aimed at the same patch of sky. The green teardrop floats above winter trees. The beam crosses Africa at 4:12 UTC, grazes Spain at 4:14, and rakes the southwestern Atlantic at 4:18. The second tone hums, then falls silent. On the third sweep, something new happens, not in radio, but with your eyes. A soft emerald hush ripples across the low horizon. Not an aurora, not weather, a whisper of oxygen, airglow pumped hard for less than 10 seconds. Cameras catch it from Florida to the Azores, Lisbon to Dakar. Spectrometers confirm a transient spike in excited oxygen at 557.7 nanometers, the same green that paints polar lights but at latitudes where it shouldn't be, timed to the beam's sweep with a brutal millisecond precision. Atmospheric physicists dive for easy answers: meteors, satellites, power line corona, and discard them as fast as they test them. The only model that survives the hour is stupid simple and impossible: a narrowband energy injection from beyond the atmosphere tuned to a transition our air is eager to glow with. Not a picture, not a message, just a knock on the door we know how to hear. No proclamation follows, no press conference. The world, especially the generation that grew up under moon landings and Mars rovers, understands the weight without anyone saying the words. We built our instruments to catch accidents in the dark. Tonight, the dark turned and looked back. By sunrise, the beam is gone, the air returns to its ordinary blue, and coffee tastes like a story you're not ready to tell yet. In labs, the whisper becomes process. Fit the Doppler, solve the spin, back out the beam width, search the bands we didn't think to watch. In living rooms, a quieter work begins. Old assumptions, packed carefully back into smaller boxes. Before year's end, 3 sober facts harden into the record. 1. 3I Atlas executed a time delta while unseen. 2. It carries a rotating, coherent narrowband source deep inside its shroud. 3. For 6 minutes, as Earth crossed its sweep, the upper air wrote back in green. None of these require malice. All of them require agency. What do we call it? A comet because that's the bucket we have. A messenger because that's what the night felt like. A mirror because the easiest interpretation is the one that stares us down. Someone, somewhere, once learned the same language of chemistry and light and left it humming in a rock that now crosses easy year. Our sky. Its legacy arrives faster than its light fades. Rubin formalizes a hyperbolic rapid response mode. DSN reserves a quiet band for transients. Agencies dust off small-sat intercept concepts and put dates on them. And in one last soft irony, amateurs are written into the protocols. Their synchronized light curves proved something bureaucracy forgot. Vigilance is a village. For now, 3I Atlas diminishes along its outbound line, a quiet ember taking our questions with it. We won't learn who built the heart inside, if a heart is what it was. We won't decode a message, if message was the point. But we did what good ancestors do. We looked up, we measured honestly, and when the sky asked a new question, we admitted we didn't yet know the answer. And because you stayed until the very end, do one small thing that changes whether stories like this vanish into algorithms or find the people who need wonder as much as oxygen. Tap like, subscribe, and tell us, in a single sentence, what you think 3I Atlas was. Natural wanderer with exotic chemistry, a relic with a job to do, or a quiet announcement that we're not alone in building tools that talk in the language of light?